Hi, everybody. I'm back with another session, which basically is the forest and our lifelines. Forest, which are our lifelines, basically. See, we will be covering a lot more topics today. We'll be covering the interaction of plants, soils, and decomposers in the forest. We'll be studying about what are the uses of the forest and what will happen if the forests disappear. Right, which is quite intriguing. I mean, you should think about it. I mean, you're the upcoming generations. What will happen if the forests actually disappear till the time you grow up? How will you survive? What will you do? What kind of environment there will be? Right? It's a like mind reckoning question. So we'll be talking about that surely. But right now, let's just move towards the interaction of plants, soils, and decomposers in the forest. Okay, it is very important for you to understand that when we are talking about the plant, soil, and decomposers, all three are interrelated. What are decomposers? First of all, you should know, because you know the plant and soil already. Decomposers are the microorganisms which basically help in decomposing or in breaking down of these complex substances into the simpler substances. Okay, so these are the microbes or the microorganisms which help in breaking down of complex into simpler substances. Right? Now, that being said, you should understand how exactly everything works. Okay, so we're going to start with a full grown tree. Okay, there's a full grown beautiful tree into the forest and it has all the lush leaves and stuff. Okay, what will happen, one by one the leaves are going to be falling down. Okay, so when those leaves are falling down, let's just go ahead by, okay, this is the number one. Okay, so when those leaves are falling down, what will happen, they'll be detached from the tree, right? They'll be away from the tree, away as in they'll not be connected to the tree as like before. So when a tree will shed the leaves, and when the leaves are going to fall onto the ground, they'll slowly turn a little yellowish and then brownish, and then they'll slowly decompose, as in they'll break down. What actually happens, so whenever the leaves are falling down, some of them are eaten by the insects such as the caterpillar or the small ants and stuff, or the nutrients and energies, they basically enter into the food chain or the food web. All of you have studied what a food chain or a web is. Okay, food chain is basically starting from a producer and then to the consumer. Okay, primary consumer, secondary consumer. For example, there's a grass. Okay, and onto the grass there is let's say a cow, and the cow is eaten by the lion. This is a food chain, and a lot of food chains together, they make a food web. Okay, now, moving forward, either this will be eaten by insects and it will enter into the food chain. Okay, all the nutrients and vitamins which are present into the particular leaf, they're going to enter the food chain. Or some of the nutrients are going to be decomposed by the help of the decomposers. Okay, for example, all the bacteria which are present, all the fungi such as mushrooms which are present into the environment, they are going to grow on top of the dead and decaying animals, okay, and dead and decaying plants, which is called as the saprophytic mode of nutrition or saprotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, now that being said, they're gonna grow onto that and they're going to utilize everything. All right, and once they utilize everything, they kind of grow onto those. They also help in managing all the nutrients which are being released after everything is being digested or decomposed or broken down into the simpler substances. Or what will happen, the nutrients sometimes they kind of leach into the soil by themselves through multiple type of chemical reactions which are going into the environment. You see, there are so many type of chemical reactions which go into the environment which we cannot see from our naked eyes. Okay, so that is one of the important things. For example, let's say there's rusting. Okay, this is just another example. So there's rusting occurs in front of our eyes, but we cannot see how exactly the atoms, or how exactly, let's say, the different type of components are being exchanged between the air and the metal, right? And similar thing goes into the forest as well. So leaching means with the help of the different chemical reactions which are going on into the environment, the different nutrients, they kind of are absorbed into the soil, or they fall into the soil, or they're leached into the soil. Okay. That being said, all of this leads to the further decomposition. Further decomposition is, okay, this like organic rich soil. Okay, now coming back to the decomposers, the fungi and the bacteria, once they have, kind of grown onto the particular fallen leaf or the fallen tree structure, what will happen, it'll be, simplifying the components by breaking them down with the use of different type of digestive enzymes. What are enzymes? Enzymes are the proteins which help in breaking down of the substances. Okay, in this case, different type of nutrients. So what will happen after they have broken down the complex into the simple substances? The further decompositions will be done by the mites, or bacteria, more earthworms, and all of that stuff. Okay, and what is it going to lead to? It is going to lead to the organic rich soil. That means a very fertile soil that will be present, which will also in turn lead to the growing of a very beautiful large tree from where it all started. So you see, there's a constant interaction of plants, soils, and decomposers into the forest, which is like super interesting and super important to learn. Next thing is the interaction of animals is also there. See, I'm just going to cover the animals as well here. The interaction of animals is also there. Animals are provided with the shelter, with the habitat, okay, with the food, etc., etc., which is very, very important. And from the animals, plants get what? Carbon dioxide, which helps in the process of photosynthesis and hence the survival of the plant. Now, moving forward, we have the uses of the forest. You all know, you can count everything onto your fingertips when it comes to the uses of the forest. There's like prevention of soil erosion. What is soil erosion? First of all, soil erosion is something which is when the soil, top layer of the soil, it flows with the water, rainwater, or it flows with the, a lot of wind, and it leads to the loss of the top fertile layer of the soil. So that could be prevented if the root of the trees are holding onto the soil like this. Okay, so that is why the prevention and control of the soil erosion is done by the forest. Flood control is there. If there's a river, okay, and a lot of trees are present on the bank of the river, they're going to break the water flow and hence the flood whenever there's extra water. Next is the checks on the spread of deserts. It's quite obvious. If there's no soil erosion, there'll be no desertification, right? And then increasing the soil fertility through this particular cycle that we have just studied. Okay, next is the effect on the climate. You should know that the plants, they do the process of transpiration, which you started learning from the standard number 4. What is transpiration? Loss of excess water through the stomatal pore, which is present in the leaves. Okay, and that transpiration, like the water, excess loss of water in the form of the water vapor, goes into the sky up high above, condenses, forms the rain clouds. Okay, so there's a like huge effect on the climate. The climate is cooler, the climate is nicer. Okay, now apart from that, we're going to watch a super fun video about it. Okay, now here's the video. Here's the super fun video. Let's begin with it.
Students, now let us look at the uses of forests.
Students, forests are useful in many ways. Some of them are listed here for you. Students, forests protect and conserve important resources like water and soil. Forests protect soil from landslides and flood.
I hope you all know what a landslide is. It basically occurs in the mountain regions when the a part of land, it just slides right off the mountain or a hill and onto the, like, people, if people are present downside the mountain. I mean, let's just move forward now.
Paper, pulp, clothing, matchsticks, fibers.
We basically are counting the uses of forest resources. Okay, they're like, as you see in the title of the video, there are like 79 uses of forest resources. So fibers and clothing and matchsticks and etc etc. Okay, so like fibers are obtained from jutes basically. Okay, they also help in the clothing. There are like nice fashion brands which are going on with the jute bags and stuff. It's like super trendy. And let's come back to biology, not fashion. Okay, moving forward.
Fruits, chemicals, raisins, and dyes are made from the trees and bamboo. Students, forests purify air by absorbing carbon dioxide from the surrounding air. Forests provide us medicinal plants and herbs. About 40% of medicines are obtained from plants. Forests provide shelter for wild animals. They cause rainfall.
Then there are these multiple type of uses of the forest, okay, which has just been listed into the video.
So, forest resources provide us with many things. The forest gives us furniture. The forest gives us paper, pulp, clothes, matchsticks, fibers, fruits, and so on.
Forest gives us many medicinal herbs.
The forest purifies the air. The forest causes rainfall.
Forest is the habitat of many plants and animals.
So you see, there are different type of things which could be obtained from the forest, and you revise it as well because it was like basically repeated into the video twice. So that's a good thing for you. And now we're going to be moving forward to this slide. All right. Now see, when we are talking about the uses of the forest that we're done about, now we'll be going with the what will happen if the forests actually disappear. What will we do? What will happen? What actually is going to go on? Okay. So you see, without the trees, there'll be, everything will be dry because there's going to be no water vapor into the environment. Okay. I mean, there's going to be less water vapor into the environment, and there are going to be extreme droughts. People are going to fall sick because there'll be less medicines, and then there'll be less food, and there's going to be a lot of floods. There's going to be a lot of desertification, that is like the formation of the desert. Okay, the oceans, they'll just going to spread more, and even the tsunamis, no, nothing is going to stop the tsunamis. No, like all the coastal areas will be flooded because there'll be no trees to break the waves, and everything will be washed away. Plus I have a super cool video over it, so let's just get ahead with that one. Now this one right here is like super fun, so let's just get on with it.
It's time. What if forests disappear?
Oh no! Now where will I live?
Some. Firstly, if forests disappeared, wild animals and birds will have no choice but to migrate to cities. Our cities may change forever.
Just imagine everything's, rushing to the cities. What are you going to do with a loin being your neighbor?
Secondly, if forests disappeared, wood may not be readily available anymore. Prices of wooden houses, wooden furniture, as well as paper will suddenly shoot up. Thirdly, if forests disappeared, huge amounts of land will become available for construction as well as agriculture. Prices of real estate as well as food grains may suddenly drop. Fourthly, if forests disappeared, level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will suddenly increase.
Photosynthesis, carbon dioxide, no trees, no photosynthesis, more carbon dioxide, no oxygen.
Life on Earth will be severely affected. Fifthly, if forests disappeared, ecotourism will take a big hit. People will miss connecting with nature on those weekend getaways.
Remember, the ecotourism is when you go into the mountains, reconnect with the nature, dance around a bonfire, see and look into the open sky, to the little stars that are sprinkling through, that are sparkling through. It's a beautiful feeling, but that is not going to last if there are no forests.
Lastly, forests are a great source of medicines. If forests disappeared, medical research will take a severe backseat.
Grammarly does more than catch
that
error.
being said, we're not going to watch an ad. Now you know what was going to happen if the forests disappeared, okay? Basically, we're not going to get all the resources and the benefits which basically are being provided to us by the forest. And now time for some questions. Decomposers convert the dead plant and animals into what? Clay, humus, inorganic debris, or soil? Yes, you're absolutely correct. It's humus. That is the top fertile layer of the soil. Next question is, arrange the following component of the food chain in a proper sequence. Will the grass be the producer? Yes. Insects? Okay. Frog? Yes. Snake? Uh-huh. And eagle? Yes. So the grass is present there and insects are present in the grass. Frog is going to eat the insect. Snake is going to eat the frog. And eagle is going to eat the snake. Or can insects eat a snake? Or maybe can insects eat an eagle? Are all possible? So yes, you're correct. It's the A one, right? So next question is, sequence that represents the series of eating and being eaten is called food series, food web, food hub, or food chain. Yes, it's the food chain. And that's it for today. I'm going to come back with the last session of this chapter and have fun, stay safe, enjoy, and study a lot. See ya.